for joining us today for our end of summer celebration for our 2022 fellows. We are so grateful that you are here. You'll see on the slide, we're asking folks to introduce themselves. So if you haven't done so already, join in on the fun. It's so wonderful to just see so many familiar names in the chat. We're really, really grateful that you're here. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of, meeting, I wanted to take a quick moment to introduce our team. I'm Ariana Soto. I am Coding It Forward's Deputy Director, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Rachel Dodell, who you just heard from a few seconds ago, if you were here before 10:05. And she is Coding It Forward's co-founder and executive director. In addition to Rachel and myself, this summer we were assisted by 3 awesome alumni associates who are also on the call today, EJ Jane, Yu-Yong Zong, and Tommy Nguyen. They've been instrumental in the day-to-day operations of our programs this summer and will be assisting us with our demos on the call later today. But thank you for being here.
Today's celebration marks a very important moment in Coding It Forward's history. In addition to recognizing our 2022 cohort today, we are celebrating 5 years since Coding It Forward's founding. For those of you unfamiliar with our story, I'm just going to briefly share it with you all today. In 2017, we were a group of college students who wanted to make a difference with our technical skills. We tried searching high and low for summer internship opportunities that aligned with our mission-driven attitudes, while offering the comprehensive professional and personal development opportunities of private sector roles. But unfortunately, we came up short. So what did we do? We decided to create an opportunity ourselves. As our friends at Code for America would say, no one is coming, it's up to us. That summer, we launched the first ever cohort of the Civic Digital Fellowship with the help of a Presidential Innovation Fellow at the US Census Bureau. The fellowship was the first ever 10-week internship program for early career software engineers, data scientists, designers, and product managers to serve in a federal agency. We've since grown from 14 fellows that first summer to having hosted over 400 early career technologists across 12 federal agencies. And the program has served as a best-in-class model for other organizations in the public interest technology space. Motivated by the success of our federal program and recognizing the need for an early career talent pipeline at all levels of government, we launched the Civic Innovation Corps last summer. COVID-19 presented many local and state government offices with a challenge that led to a need for more reliable talent and systems. We placed 55 fellows in our inaugural cohort, and this year we hosted 59 fellows who served at 30 host offices in 15 cities, 2 counties, and 3 states. To all of our fellows, today's celebration is about you. Congratulations on making it to the end of what I'm sure was an exhausting and exciting 10 weeks. We've watched you grow from being unsure of government procedures to confident in navigating complex work environments. From being frustrated with IT challenges and getting access to your laptops, to building out entire products and services in just 2 months. Thank you for choosing to spend your summer in service. It's been an honor to witness your professional and personal growth this summer.
Well, second, Rachel, congratulations to our fellows, and just thank you everyone for being here to celebrate them. At this 5-year mark, we're looking forward to continuing to scale the Civic Digital Fellowship and the Civic Innovation Corps for years to come. We plan to double down on growing our fellowships and expanding access to impactful career opportunities for early career technologists. Just this year, we heard from 1,600 students from over 300 educational institutions who wanted to be a part of our programs this summer. So while our fantastic fellows this summer are incredibly talented and a very tenacious group, we know that we need to continue building opportunities to ensure that all early career technologists who want to serve their country can do so. So to everyone on today's call, we'll probably say it a bajillion times today, but thank you for helping Coding It Forward get to where we are today. We're really looking forward to continuing to pay it forward alongside all of you.
As we reflect on this summer, we're incredibly proud of everything our fellows have accomplished, but as Ariana mentioned, we certainly did not get here alone. To our host office partners, we are incredibly grateful to you for supporting the fellows over these past 10 weeks. Thank you for your investment in the next generation of technologists and for working with us to give them an opportunity to serve. It's been a pleasure to sit in on their presentations over the past few weeks and learn how their work will impact your office and the people that you serve. In addition to the day-to-day work, our team wanted to share what the fellows have been up to for the past 10 weeks. Our team organizes a variety of professional and personal development opportunities in the form of weekly events. This year, we are also fortunate to partner with Second Day, a nonprofit organization that is dismantling inequitable talent pipelines into the social sector through skill development, mentorship, and career planning. In addition, our team hosted a variety of speakers in the public interest tech space, and we're grateful to them for sharing important lessons that they've learned throughout their careers. We would not be able to provide these opportunities to our fellows without their generosity. And last, but certainly not least, we are grateful to all of our mentors who provided fellows with one-on-one guidance throughout the summer. Volunteer mentors reviewed resumes, provided networking opportunities, and lent a listening ear and advice when it was most needed. We are incredibly appreciative of their willingness to pay it forward to the next generation.
As Rachel mentioned, it really does take all of us to make this program possible. There are many individuals on this call who have made considerable contributions to the success of the fellowships. We wish we could name every single one of you, but you know who you are, and we're so grateful for you. But every year at our end of summer celebration, we recognize a few individuals who have really gone above and beyond to support our fellows as they embark on what is oftentimes their first government work experience. We're going to hand the virtual mic over to a few of our fellows at this point to share how this year's Star Supervisor and Mentoring It Forward awardees shaped their summer. Our Star Supervisor Award recognizes the supervisors at the federal, state, and local government host offices that supported our fellows and their work throughout this summer. So today we will be celebrating 2 supervisors. I'd like to welcome Civic Digital Fellow Evelyn Siu to recognize our first Star Supervisor, James Delaguila from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Evelyn, over to you.
Thanks, Ariana. So James was my direct manager at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services in the Policy and Data Analytics group. My fellowship project was to help out with an AI pilot project where we tried to predict which Medicare beneficiaries are most at risk of an opioid-related ED visit. James quickly checked off all the boxes for being a great manager. He had clearly scoped out project requirements that fit well within our tight 10-week timeline. He also quickly onboarded me and was very supportive as I started learning the tools and environment I needed for this project. But the reason I nominated him for the Star Supervisor Award is because of his infectious passion for his work that inspired me to dive deeper into the intersection of machine learning and public policy. Beyond just working on the project, James encouraged me to talk to other people in CMS and introduced me to other people at the agency that are working on data science projects. Beyond just being my manager, James also took on a mentorship role by discussing life at CMS, what it's like to work on data science in the government, and the future path towards a stronger data culture at CMS. My discussions with James really exposed me to a whole career path rather than just one summer project. One interesting area that we talked about was how industry's best models like neural networks and other advanced deep learning models may not meet the same requirements for explainability or model transparency or vetting bias that policymakers will require. I'm planning to explore this area further in my second year of school. Working with James and all of the other passionate data people at CMS have really opened my eyes to the different ways I can take my career in this field and has inspired me to continue exploring how data can best aid public policy. Thank you, James.
Thanks, Evelyn, and congrats again, James. Next up, we'll be joined by our Civic Innovation Corps Fellow, Tiffany Marr, who'll be recognizing her supervisor, Paul Goldbeck, of the Des Moines City Manager's Office.
Ariana. Yeah, so this summer, Shauna Kurbanchova and I had the pleasure of working with PA at the Des Moines City Manager's Office. And speaking on behalf of both of us, we nominated PA because of her exceptional supervision and guidance she's offered us this summer. At the beginning of her fellowship, she was very clear with the goals she had in mind for certain projects. However, she also made space for us to explore additional projects, including a range of topics such as affordable housing, gun violence, and sustainability. I remember at our first meeting, she asked us what skills we wanted to develop and what interests or passions we had that we could potentially pursue. Pa always prioritized our learning, and she was more than happy to set aside an hour a week to talk to us about professional development, answer any career-related questions we had outside of our work. She was also very aware of our potential interests. She offered to connect us to anyone we thought we would like to network with in the city. Moreover, throughout the fellowship, I always felt like help was accessible. There are many times where we would have to troubleshoot technology issues or discuss problems that had arisen from our project, but the way she led our team created a truly accessible working space. Reflecting on my growth from the summer, I really feel it has been well-rounded and holistic. I'm grateful that our personal development and interests were prioritized alongside our professional development. Overall, PA's phenomenal leadership created space for myself and Shauna to both connect with her and complete a project that positively impacts the Des Moines community as a whole. So thank you, Pa.
Next up is our Mentoring It Forward Award. As we mentioned earlier in the celebration, mentorship is an important part of our professional development experience. We had 115 mentors from across sectors who volunteered their time to support our programs this summer. We wish we could recognize so many of them today, but we'll just be recognizing 2 this afternoon. First, I'd like to welcome Devin Gressmark and Heewon Kwon to present our first Mentoring It Forward Award to their mentor, Anna Hoffman.
Thank you, Rachel. Me and Devin are very excited to highlight how amazing a mentor Anna was and is, and I'm glad she could make it just on time. Anna has been an amazing mentor over the summer, and I feel so lucky to have gotten to know her. From her first email, I could feel Anna was such an enthusiastic person, eager to help us with whatever I or Devin may need. The enthusiasm I felt from the emails actually felt short from Anna in person, which I didn't think was possible. Her willingness to help us was clear during our meetings, and she gave us advice and tips that I feel like I got a cheat sheet for navigating through a field that I was yet familiar. From the beginning, Anna was open to any type of questions, from the small technical methods we could use as UX researchers to the grand scheme of what the public and private sector looks like. Every meeting, we would have a theme of questions that we were curious, and Anna would go above and beyond of what we asked. For example, I remember asking about what a realistic job search and interview process would be like, and Anna broke down the steps of how to find a position that we would be interested in, how to connect with people, as well as what we could potentially go through during an interview process. As a graduate student, not having much experience nor knowledge of the job searching process, this helped me vision what to expect and made me feel more confident about the next steps. Although we did not meet many times, every meeting was so packed with valuable information. I feel like I took a crash course of how to start as a UX researcher. I'm truly grateful to have Anna as my mentor, and am looking forward to keeping in touch with her.
Thank you, Heewon. I'm grateful to Coding It Forward for many things, but I'm perhaps most grateful to them for connecting me with Anna. She has not only been an amazing mentor who delivered insightful, well-prepared, and truly useful discussions relevant to working in the public versus private sector, working in tech, and more specifically, working in UX and PM roles, but she is also just a truly warm, welcoming, and honest person, which made the delivery of the aforementioned content that much more impactful. Anna went above and beyond in preparing for each of our meetings. She made Heewon and me feel truly comfortable to ask any and all questions. Her follow-up emails with recaps of our conversations and linked resources truly solidified our appreciation for her time, wisdom, and willingness to share her experiences with us. I am so appreciative of Anna as I head into my final year of grad school and begin my application and recruitment journey, because I feel much more prepared having learned from her. I truly hope that Anna and I will be able to stay connected, as I would love to continue to have the opportunity to learn from her. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you so much, Devin and Heewon, for those remarks. Next up, I would love to introduce Remy Stewart, who nominated her mentor, Matt Brehm.
Thank you, Rachel. Matt has been an outstanding mentor for me this summer. I was struck by his welcoming energy right from our first meeting. He firmly established his commitment towards our mentee-mentor relationship within this initial conversation with each other. In particular, he set the tone of his mentorship as grounded on providing me with guidance on whatever I wanted to discuss without any judgment. Him encouraging this openness allowed me to have the types of conversations I've been wishing to have as an early career technologist for the first time. We engaged with topics such as ethics within applied data science work, experiences around belonging within tech spaces, and imposter syndrome. I've never had a mentor who works in the same field that I'm aiming to enter following graduate school, much less one who is just as dedicated to using data for social good and ensuring our technology spaces actively practice inclusion as I am. Our mentorship conversations provided me with such valuable perspectives and advice on these themes, and I know I will carry forward what I've learned from Matt throughout my career ahead. Matt embodied phenomenal mentorship in multiple other instances as well. He provided me with a large amount of technical interview practice questions when I discussed my nervousness around technical interviews with him. He immediately offered to connect me with his professional network when I told him my dream organization to work with, which led me to have a coffee chat with a senior data scientist at said organization just a few weeks after. These examples to me represent how much Matt was deeply committed to my success that has made a lasting impression on me that led me to nominate him. Matt is the type of person that makes me know that I'm going into the right career because I'll be able to work with individuals like him. I truly want to thank him for his amazing mentorship.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Remy, and also to Devin and Hewan for sharing their experiences with mentorship this summer. And I just want to take a second again to congratulate Anna and Matt. We are also so grateful to all of our mentors who paid it forward this summer to our early career technologists. Without you, we truly would not be able to make our professional development opportunities possible. So little round of applause for everyone who volunteered this summer. We are so grateful to you.
We are so grateful again to all the fellows who shared their work today and to every fellow for choosing to spend the past 10 weeks serving with their skills. We hope you enjoyed your break, and we are going to resume our celebration now with some special guests. We'd be remiss if we didn't recognize our own fellows who have contributed to our cohort community this summer. Thank you to each and every one of you for choosing to be a part of our program this summer. We are going to be presenting our Community Builder Award at this point, which is dedicated to Courtney Brousseau, who was a 2019 Civic Digital Fellow who passed away in 2020. Courtney was a fellow at the General Services Administration on the Technology Transformation Team, where he contributed to code.gov, building tools to track open source community contributions, adding analytics, and doing usability testing of a new prototype that he built. Courtney exemplified what it means to be a community builder. During his time as a fellow, Courtney was the connector of our community. He created our Coding It Forward Corner series so that program participants could share their passions with each other. Coding It Forward Corner to this day is still one of my favorite events that we do every week. It's just a chill space for fellows to present on topics that they're really passionate about. So I know every week during our program, I'm very personally grateful to Courtney for starting that series quite a few years ago. Courtney was also a mega fan of the Great British Bake Off. So he started and won a Bake Off competition during his fellowship year with a delicious raspberry dessert. Which I unfortunately was not on the ground in DC that summer. And so I unfortunately did not get to taste the dessert, but I did hear that it was superb. And Courtney overall just forged really deep connections with his fellow fellows in the broader civic tech community in just the 10 weeks that he was a part of our cohort. But because of his efforts to build an inclusive and welcoming community for all fellows, Courtney was our first award recipient of the Community Builder Award in 2019. After we tragically lost him to an act of senseless violence in 2020, it felt only right that the award would be renamed after Courtney with the blessing of his family and friends. So it is my honor to introduce Courtney's sister, Jocelyn, who will be presenting today's Community Builder Award winner. Jocelyn, over to you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me and bear with me. Today we're presenting Courtney's Community Builder Award to Rena Liu, a 2002 Civic Digital Fellow who worked at the Internal Revenue Service this summer. Rena is a recent graduate of Johns Hopkins University, where she studied computer science and social policy. Rena was selected for this award because of her thoughtful efforts to build a community again amongst Coding It Forward fellows this summer. Rena's fellows noted that her contributions range from small everyday actions like contributing her bright and friendly personality to conversations on Slack, to larger contributions like organizing regular study breaks and co-working sessions open to the entire community. Rena made a substantial effort to get to know her peers this summer. Sarah Gaynor, another fellow at the Internal Revenue Service, remarked that Rena was the first fellow to reach out to her this summer and made everyone, including her, feel heard despite the distance and screen barrier. Monis Katori, another IRS fellow, noted that Rena always actively listened during their weekly calls and asked thoughtful questions while celebrating other fellows' achievements and work. Outside of her host office, Rena took initiative to reach out and build community with other Coding It Forward fellows. Vedant Kuchal, a fellow with the City of Los Angeles, noted that when many of us are burnt out from Zoom socializing, Rena's study breaks provided an opportunity to recharge and connect with other fellows. Another fellow remarked that Rena is someone whose high spirits and energy was especially appreciated during these times. Rena, thank you for creating a welcome and inclusive community this summer, and congratulations on receiving the Courtney Brousseau 2019 Community Builder Award.
Thanks, Jocelyn, and thanks to Courtney's mom as well for being on the call, and thank you for helping us present this award. In the past couple of years, it's really wonderful to be able to share this space and be in community with both of you. So thank you for being here. And just thank you for being a part of our Coding It Forward family and for helping us to just continue Courtney's legacy of love today. And always to our audience members here today, if you would like to learn more about Courtney and his legacy, please visit his website at loveforcourtney.org. As we reflect on another summer, we are forever grateful to have Courtney serve as one of our guiding lights. He truly embodied what it means to be a friend to all and really just embodied what it means to be a fellow as part of this community. So thank you again, Jocelyn, for sharing about Rena. Thank you, Rena, for contributing to our community this summer. And again, thank you to each and every one of our fellows. We look forward to welcoming you to our alumni community today. I will say, Courtney's legacy extended just past the 10 weeks that he was a part of our cohort and very much extended into the community after the 10 weeks were done. And so I think Courtney just embodies the community that exists even after the program is said and done in the 10 weeks, and the community that exists that you are all joining today. We're here to celebrate you, and we'll be here to continually celebrate you as you go forward in your careers. So please keep us in your court. You will be in ours, and we're here to support you as you make your way. As we near the end of today's celebration, thank you for sticking with us. It's been so wonderful to share this space with you and have you be here and have your energy celebrate our fellows as they wrap up their summer of service. With that, we are very excited to welcome a speaker to share some words of wisdom and advice now that your summer as a fellow has come to a close. So I'm going to toss it over to Rachel to introduce today's keynote speaker. Rachel might be muted. She got
muted. Yes. It was bound to happen one time today. So, oh well. Thank you so much, Ariana. And thank you again to Jocelyn and Rekha for being here. It's been wonderful, like Ariana said, to have you be part of the extended Coding It Forward family. And we are just so grateful to your family for letting us name the award after Courtney and recognize his contributions to our community. With that being said, I am thrilled to introduce our speaker for today's celebration, Erie Meyer. Erie is a personal friend of Coding It Forward, a role model of mine, and is currently the Chief Technologist and Senior Advisor at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Erie's team is dedicated to bringing more technologists to the CFPB, and in February 2022, they began a pilot program to embed people with technical expertise into their supervision and enforcement teams to help strengthen their work of holding companies and individuals accountable. Just last month, her team announced that they'll be hiring an additional 25 technologists over the next year to help continue their work of investigating and holding tech companies accountable for financial wrongdoing. An experienced public interest technologist, Erie is the former chief technologist at the Federal Trade Commission, a co-founder of the U.S. Digital Service and the Tech and Innovation team at the CFPB. So Erie, I am super excited to have you with us this afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. I know you have some slides to share, so I'm going to quickly transition to those.
Thank you.
I've got them up, Rachel. I've got you. Erie, the slides are incoming. Can everyone see that? Perfect.
Well, thank you for that beautiful intro. And then thank you again to Courtney's family for being here and for all the Coding It Forward fellows. Before I even get started, I'll say that I frantically hire alumnus from Coding It Forward, frantically. So let's stay in touch. But yeah, I wanted to share 5 thoughts to consider sort of holding in your heart as you continue on your journey. So as you heard, I'm Erie. You heard some fancy things about my resume. I've also had the honor of working at Code for America. I did a stint as a fellow at Harvard. I've done all this really cool stuff, but it's not actually who I am. Let me go to the next slide. This is who I am. What you're looking at is a photo of my hometown in 2020. And this is a photo of the inside of the biggest building in our community. It's our convention center. And they had moved all of the eviction hearings into the biggest building in the community because it was the only place that could hold all of the people who were being kicked out of their homes. I am drawn, I assume, like everybody else in this call, to problems that are really important to the people where I'm from. My mom was evicted a long time ago. The people in this photo are my neighbors. And when I get up every morning and I have rug burn from the bureaucracy on my brain, the people who should not be stuffed in a giant convention center waiting to lose their homes are the people who I'm holding in the center of my heart. So I know sometimes it's intimidating when you are meeting people with lots of degrees behind their name or they've worked at really fancy places. So I wanted to be really specific about who I am. And I want to say that even if you don't have lots of letters behind your name, even if your mom has been evicted, I know who you are is something else, and I am excited to learn. Next slide. So I have just 5 things I wanted to share with you all, and I only have 10 minutes, so I set a timer so I wouldn't go too far over. The first is that for many of you, I assume this is your first ever stint in government, and you probably found some strange things on your journey. I encourage you to embrace them. And what I mean by that is one day at the VA, we were setting up the VA digital service. We noticed a sign that had not been up before being erected on the wall right near where our engineers were sitting. And it was a dress code update. And it said, no flip-flops, all the things on dress code. And then it got to a section and it said, no bare back shirts. And then it said, no bare front shirts. And it was first of all, what had happened that necessitated this sign, number one? And number two, like you can get sort of crushed by like weird kind of shamey signs showing up in your work area, or you can do what our team did, which was immediately start designing bare front, like bare front shirts and cupcake icing designs, and like really like going deep. The other weird shaped things is I think when we welcome people into the government for the first time, we often try to like scare them and say like anything you say in email could be on the homepage of WashingtonPost.com and like watch out. I actually think it's an honor that your work is a public record. The history of public records, and in fact, the history of email being considered eligible to be, responsive to FOIA, is not because government workers are not important. It's because your work is explosively important. Your work belongs to the public. And I think whether it's FOIA or Sunshine Records for folks who work with states or cities, or even the ethics attorneys who sometimes make you fill out so much paperwork, it feels like your head is going to spin. That's awesome. Like, I love that there's a whole team of like really weird lawyers who only know exactly what they need to look at so that we don't have a system where people are serving in government to benefit their own financial interests. It can feel, again, like, oh my God, ethics lawyers. I love it because they're there fighting for a democratic system. So as you come up against these things that maybe at first blush are like, oh my goodness, or all stacked up feel really heavy, see if you can flip it around and embrace those weird things and challenge your peers to do it too. Next slide. So the second thing is I have found in my career as a technical woman that people are always telling me about mentorship and like find a mentor and da 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 da. And I don't know if any of you have ever tried to have an email conversation with me, but like people are busy. It's hard, right? And in fact, it's like a really privileged thing. And there's studies showing this, even to get someone to reply back to you, there are like racial implications of who gets a response and not, like all of this stuff. I sort of hate the advice of like, you have to go find a mentor that has to be senior. And I would encourage you to hold tight to your peers. And I mean the people who are on your fellowship team. I mean the people who are 1 year beyond you in school, the people who are 1 year behind you in school, the people who are experiencing the world in the same way you are not invaluable because of that. They have a more rich perspective and meaningful advice for you because they're in the same place in life. They also will answer your calls. So, if you can grab a mentor, that is amazing. But I'll tell you, I have gotten the most meaningful support as a person, the most thoughtful career advice, and the most practical advances in the way that I thought about really hard problems by teaming up with your peers. And I mean, start a listserv, run the group chat, show up every Sunday at the same field to play soccer with them. Like, I hope you're all side chatting in the chat right now, direct messaging all of your favorite other peers. There is power in community, and Rachel and Ariana and others have worked really, really hard to make this community of extraordinary people. Like, go deep, go all in. Next slide. Okay, this is a really important one that I recently added. You are primarily early career. You are in a position that I once was. And one of the things that we don't always say out loud, especially when it's with the government, because there's so much formal training, especially when it's with a fellowship, where like your totally amazing boss, Rachel, like she's amazing, but the home base of your agency might have people in it who you did not choose on purpose, or in other fellowship cases, the other way around. And so I just want to affirmatively say to you, as somebody who is senior in this field and cares deeply about your future, no one should be creepy to you. I'm not into it. I'm not here for it. I won't allow it. There are, if you ask Jeeves about it, I had an experience earlier on in my career where there was a particular man who was creepy to me regularly, and I went on the record with Huffington Post about what happened, and he was actually in the civic tech community. And I realized that nobody had ever said to me, except in like whispered bathroom conversations, that that wasn't okay. So I wanted to affirmatively say to you that you should not have to put up with creeps. And I hope the infrastructure of whatever job or university or place you're going next to supports you in that. But if they don't, I'm available. And then also your peers are available, and you are really important. And anybody being creepy to you, even if they're like fancy, that is not worth discounting your own contributions by protecting their reputation. So I just want to say that out loud. No creeps. Okay, next slide. The other thing is, for our technical jelly beans who are in the crowd, you will be lured by rich people with foundations, which is great, bless their hearts. You will be wooed by firms that have billions of users. That's amazing. When you're choosing your career and you're choosing the things you want to focus on, think about scale, but also think about angle. One of the things that has been sort of in the back of my mind as like a little voice that I would like to instill possibly in the back of your mind is, shouldn't taxes pay for this? Like when I'm working with a nonprofit, I'm like shouldn't this be a public service? And it's not that the nonprofits are bad. I mean, like Coding It Forward, for example, is in a structure that's like fighting to make this happen. But I also think that a part of your responsibility as people who have now seen this larger ecosystem of types of structures and the work that can be done is to think like, how could we get government or our county or city or the federal government to actually have the right angle on this, where the thing, like, if appropriate, taxes are paying for it, rather than already stretched thin community resources being stretched thin. So as you're thinking about a problem to fall in love with, think about scale, but also think about angle. Next slide. And so the final thing I wanted to share with you is a quote from my hero, Shirley Chisholm. She ran for president in 1972. She was a woman who dared to be herself in the 20th century. She was the first Black woman in Congress. She has great biographies, and autobiographies are excellent. And if you think about a Black woman serving in Congress before women were allowed to have credit cards without a man's signature on them, which happened in 1974. If you think about a Black woman serving in Congress and considering running for president when many parts of the country were still like essentially segregated or about to be, forced by the National Guard to integrate. If you think about a place, a woman like her serving in government while government agencies were really targeting Black communities, targeting women, like, how do you square that? And I think we have some of these questions today. I think when you read the news about, war or missteps or policies that are just flat out wrong, it can be hard to square seeing yourself on the side of government and what that means. So in moments when I'm trying to look inside myself to figure out what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, I turn to a quote from her, which is, "I don't love America for her achievement, but for her potential." And so you are all smart and extraordinary, and your fellowship, I like can't wait to see all of your projects. You're amazing and you're important, and you're in this room not because today you're amazing and important, but because you have a role in designing what the future of this country looks like. And I think it will be better with your fingerprints all over it. Next slide. And I'm really proud of you. One more slide. And I seriously mean I'm available. So that's my email. That's my Twitter handle. This is the URL where I'm hiring a bunch of technical people. If I was in the room and you were open to hugs, I would squeeze each of you with an Olympic long hug. I am so, so, so proud of you. And thank you for having me here today.
Lots of visual applause, but thank you so much, Erie, for joining. That was awesome. I think lots of great lessons for folks to take away as they're thinking about next steps in their career. So I'm going to hand it over to Ariana to wrap us up. Just give me 1 second to reshare our presentation. Lots of praise for Erie in the chat, which is well deserved.
Thank you so much, Erie, for joining us. We know we are right at time, so we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to let Rachel get the deck up, and we have our final thanks to give. This officially brings us to the end of our celebration today. Thank you to everyone in attendance, whether you've been with us since the beginning or you popped in for a bit, you caught a couple of demos. We're grateful for your support of our fellows. Once more, we'd love to give a big virtual round of applause to all of our fellows for your incredible work this summer, all of our host offices for their partnership and support of our fellows, and of course, our mentors for paying it forward. Thank you to our contracting partners who help make the Civic Digital Fellowship possible and work behind the scenes with our federal agency partners. And of course, a big thank you to some of our key funders, including Schmidt Futures, the Patrick J. McGovern Foundation, the Ford Foundation, and the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation. We truly would not be able to do this without your generous support. So thank you for investing in our work and for making all of this possible. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We can't wait to continue bringing more early career technologists into public service for years to come. From the bottom of my heart and also Rachel's heart, I'll take her heart and I'll speak for her. Thank you so much for being here and for being a part of our community. This community would not be possible without each and every single one of you. Congratulations to our fellows. You made it, and we'll see you in just a few hours to finally send you away and just say thank you and celebrate each and every single one of you. So thank you, everyone. That concludes today's event. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for joining, everyone. It was lovely to see all of you, and we'll be following up shortly next week with a recording and our GitHub.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.